Welcome to the show, guys. Joseph Robert Camo, the fantasy football counselor. In this video, we're talking about the top 10 sleepers for fantasy football 2022. This is a very early list here as I dive into guys that are non-rookies that are sleepers and could be good and massive value here for you guys for 2022 fantasy football. Very early. We don't stop here on the Fantasy Football Counselor podcast. If you are new to the channel, make sure you guys click that subscribe button. And also, we are doing a giveaway. Check this out, guys. A beautiful signed, listen to this, Mac Jones helmet. This is, I think, a youth helmet. It's an official helmet. It's got real insulation here. Beautiful. Future superstar here, Mac Jones. To enter, guys, very simple. pristineauction.com. Use code SWAGLION and you're entered for all draws moving forward. And this is not the only giveaway. This is going to be ongoing giveaway. So you're entered automatically for all draws moving forward. Go to pristineauction.com. Use code SWAGLION and you're entered, guys. Very simple. Beautiful helmet. That's the next giveaway here. Compliments of Pristine Auction. Use code SWAGLION. Just create an account and you're in. All right, guys? All right, let's dive into this. Top 10 sleepers going into fantasy football 2022. This is the non-rookie list. Now, I nailed a lot of good rookies last year in regards to sleeper calls. Monroe St Brown to name one. We're talking Najee Harris, who's outside the top 10. Yes, he was a sleeper compared to where the Conchiefs had him, believe it or not. So Najee Harris, another guy that did really well. Elijah Moore did okay. Michael Carter, and there were so many others. Pat Freiermuth. There's a bunch of other guys that were in my 16-round draft solution for great value that I suggested you get. A lot of people got them, and they did really, really well. So, again, I'm really good at picking out sleepers and picking out players that could really flourish and you can get for massive value, okay? Because, again, a lot of people draft predicate on last year's top finishers. It doesn't work like that, guys. You got to get the value. We're going to talk about the value and why they are value right now, okay? First guy here, this is a no-brainer for me when I'm looking at running back sleepers. The guy I'm talking about is A.J. Dillon. Now, A.J. Dillon quietly got the starting job in Green Bay in 2021. Now you're saying, well, Joe, how did he do that? More rushing attempts, 187 compared to Aaron Jones, 171. Well, you say, well, Joe, Aaron Jones got done more in the receiving game. Yes, but they worked Dillon a lot more than they did the year before. So, in my opinion, A.J. Dillon, I think, is the RB1, and he gets the goal line work. Again, Aaron Jones, they got to phase him out and start working A.J. Dillon because I think he'd be a workhorse on his own, okay? I think he should take the entire job for next year, but we're going to have to see what happens the offseason. Is Aaron Jones going to stay on the team? How that's all going to lay out? Are they going to draft someone else? Now, if I were the Green Bay Packers, I would personally keep A.J. Dillon, have him as a starter, get a nice backup in the third or fourth round at the running back position, okay? Aging Aaron Jones, I still like Dillon a little bit more. Younger, hungrier, bigger back, and he can catch the ball in the backfield as well, okay? Believe it or not, Dillon caught 34 out of 37 passes out of the backfield, accumulating 313 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns, okay? So it's not like he can't catch the ball. He can. So A.J. Dillon is a guy that I think is going to be for good value this year as a running back sleeper. And I think if Aaron Jones is there, definitely Dillon's definitely going to be value, okay? So if Aaron Jones is gone, right, then he's going to slide up the depth chart, of course, and on the rankings. But I like A.J. Dillon a lot as a sleeper if Aaron Jones is there particularly. All right, coming number 2 here. Again, no particular order, just talking sleepers. Michael Carter. Listen, Michael Carter, I love him this upcoming year. The only drawback with Michael Carter is he's on the Jets. I mean, the Jets suck, let's be honest. But Michael Carter is a guy that can get it done. He led the team in rushing, 147 rushing attempts, 639 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. We're saying, Joe, that's not exciting. But understand he's a rookie. He's getting integrated, and there was nobody really behind him there. I think it was like Ty Johnson, but he was the main guy. Now, they are suspect at quarterback. They are suspect all around. So if they improve their O-line, get the quarterback situation figured out, and give the volume to Michael Carter, he could be a workhorse running back this upcoming year. Now, am I going to draft him as my RB1? No. RB2? No. Maybe RB3? Possibly. Got to see what type of offseason moves the Jets make. But Michael Carter, solid sleeper going into the season. I think a lot of people will sleep on him this year. Again, he finished 29th amongst running backs, so he'll be off the radar a little bit and probably going to get a lot of volume this upcoming season. All right? Let's shift over here to a quarterback. The guy I'm talking about is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had himself a down year, finishing 15th amongst quarterbacks in fantasy points. So when you are looking at a quarterback, I look for those consistent guys that are going to get me the points, volume, get me the points, and not have to worry about the uncertainty of, is this quarterback going to do well? Like we saw with Trevor Lawrence, like, not that he was high draft capital last year, but Trevor Lawrence was a guy that, the upside was there, but he just didn't do that well. So when you look at a guy like Russell Wilson, he's had years to wow us, and he has wowed us. One down year, he's a 4,000 plus receiving passing quarterback. He had 3,113 this past year. It's going to go up. Okay. And again, there's talk about him being traded. Depends on where he falls, how that works out, who's going to be throwing to. But I think he's still got a solid 2-3 years left in him to play at a high level. So Russell Wilson out to leave a legacy. Again, very talented, good head on his shoulders. I got him as a sleeper at quarterback because I think the mainstream are going to sleep on him because, again, they do everything based on last year. He finished 15th last year, so they're going to put him 15th. I think it's going to be a bargain. I think people are going to sleep on him. This is a guy that can finish top 5 when he gets into his groove, okay? So we're talking Russell Wilson. All right, let's move to wide receiver here. Got a couple here for you in a row. Number 4, Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith is a wide receiver stud. Let me get this out here in the open for you. One of the best wide receivers out of the 2021 draft. Now, he finished 30th in PPR amongst wide receivers. So when you're looking at Devonta Smith, you're thinking, he's not Jamar Chase. Yes, he's not Jamar Chase. I know, and I'd rather have Jamar Chase, but Jamar Chase you're paying probably first-round value for, right? This guy, I don't know where his ADP is going to fall. It's still very, very early, right? But I will tell you this. He's going to be a good value, and I think his rapport only gets better with Jalen Hurts. 104 targets, 64 receptions, only 5 touchdowns. I'm not discouraged because that shows to me that there's still more to be had. He hasn't even scratched the surface on what he could do. I'm excited about him. I'm excited about the talent. I'm excited about Jalen Hurts. Now, what we're hearing is Jalen Hurts is going to be the starting guy there in Philly again. That's their guy, and he proved that he can be very capable, and he's really good. So Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts, that connection is going to continue to flourish, and I think Devonta Smith is going to be a huge sleeper, and he's going to be good value in drafts, all right? Coming to number 5 here, we're talking top fantasy football sleepers. I got to go with DeAndre Hopkins. Now, DeAndre Hopkins had a terrible year, obviously. He got hurt, and he only played 10 games, accumulating 147.2 fantasy points, finishing 46th amongst wide receivers. Really unacceptable. But when you look at Hopkins, you look at a guy that, based on last year where he was being drafted in the first round, I told you to avoid him. Why did I tell you to avoid him? Very simple, guys. The volume wasn't going to be there. We know they spread the ball around Arizona, ton of targets, and I just wasn't going to spend first-round capital on the fact that I didn't think the volume was going to be there. But if I can get Hopkins in the 5th round next year, I don't think he's going to fall that low. But if I get him for value, I mean, he had 8 touchdowns this year in 10 games. He could still have a solid campaign, but I just wasn't willing to pay first round. Now you're saying, well, Joe, will you pay second round for him next year? Probably not. Would you pay third round? Maybe. Depends on what other wide receivers on the board, how it all plays out. I got to see where his average ADP is, but I will tell you this. The fact that he finished 46th will drop him down in the rankings. So many other guys emerged. Guys like, again, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson solidifying a spot, Cooper Kupp. So I look at DeAndre Hopkins, and I see value going into 2022. We're going to have to see if he really slides up the depth charts or if they can just slide him right up into the top 5. It's going to be interesting to see, all right? Number 6 here, Darren Waller, another guy coming off injury. And when you look at a guy like Darren Waller, he was a top tight end the year before, prior to 2022. He had a knee ankle issue in 2022, which hindered him, limited his on-field capability and his time, finishing 17th amongst tight ends. But he is, if Derek Carr is there, still with Darren Waller, it's Derek Carr's favorite target. He's going to eat. He's going to get volume. And literally, guys, there's only a handful of tight ends that produce on a high level. Darren Waller is that guy that can do that. So I'm looking at Darren Waller this year and thinking, if I can get him for value, if they sleep on him, why not? Again, recency bias, finished very low this year, again, because of his injuries and didn't get the points that he deserved, that he should have had. So I'm looking at Waller and I'm thinking, man, there could be some sleeper value here. We're going to have to see where he lands, okay? It's still very, very early. We're talking January here, okay? Number 7 here, Javonte Williams, where he's saying, Joe, I don't think he's going to be a sleeper. If Melvin Gordon returns, Javonte Williams will be a sleeper because I think a lot of people sleep on him thinking Melvin Gordon will get that volume. But I think Javonte Williams starts taking more and more of that load, and I think they phase out Melvin Gordon if he ends up staying on the Denver Broncos. Now, there's also talk about Aaron Rodgers ending up in Denver, different things that could happen. They get a better quarterback. They get that situation worked out. That's only going to help Javonte Williams, in my opinion, who is the younger, better stud over him and Melvin Gordon, who both had 203 attempts. And I'm looking at him thinking Melvin Gordon should have 0 attempts, and those 406 attempts should go to Javonte Williams. So Javonte Williams, even with Melvin Gordon there, 203 attempts. I like to see more volume. The talent is definitely there, but we need Melvin Gordon to go away. Hopefully, if I can get Javonte for value, I think he's going to be a good return on investment this year for the right value. Can be a workhorse running back in his own right, okay? Number 8 here. This was my sleeper last year, one of my deep sleepers. He was on my 16-round draft solution. By the way, if you haven't gotten 60 rounds, link below. Make sure you grab it. One of the biggest breakouts of 2021. We're moving to 2022. The guy I'm talking about is Monroe St Brown. Listen, this guy is very talented. In Detroit, they have no one else to throw to. Monroe is a guy that could continue to thrive and started to really turn it up after week 13, putting up some monster points. So Monroe St. Brown, I still think people are going to sleep on him because he finished 21st amongst wide receivers. I think people will still be a little bit hesitant. If I can get him for value. Now, he's not going to go undrafted this year, which he did last year, and I was stashing him up all my rosters. And I'm going to give you those sleepers in my 16-round draft and more videos to come, so make sure you guys subscribe. He isn't going to be the value that he was last year, like undrafted, but he's still going to be pretty solid this year, okay? Number 9 here, David Montgomery, super talented, great work effort, great work ethic. I'm trying to find the word. Great work ethic. He's a grinder. Good news is Matt Nagy is gone. With the coach being gone, these are good things for David Montgomery. So David Montgomery could absolutely have himself a good year. It could be a huge, massive breakout year for David Montgomery. We're saying, Joe, he has broken up before. Yes, he has, but we want to see a higher ceiling. I think Nagy was limiting him from that. So I think Montgomery finished 21st amongst running backs at PPR last year, who amassed 849 yards. Should have a better year this upcoming year. 7 touchdowns, 195 points in 2021. That's definitely going to go up. And again, he was banged up a little bit, missed some games. Tons of upside, especially with Nagy being gone. And finally, going to throw in another quarterback here for you. Now, you can read the full article down below on this to get more detail on my write-up on this. But I'm talking about Mac Jones here. Mac Jones, I'm telling you guys, this guy's talented. He's solid. He's consistent. Is he going to finish top 10? I think so. He finished 18th in fantasy points this year, and he literally doesn't have any wide receivers. Who do you have? Jacoby Myers as his wide receiver 1? Not good. Jacoby's mediocre at best. Now, some people may debate me at that. That's okay. But Mac Jones is a guy that I think could be a sleeper quarterback that you can get for value that as a backup quarterback. Because, again, you want to be able to cover your bye weeks, any lack of performance and injuries from your starting quarterback. I think Mac Jones, again, showing that he, in his rookie year, finished 18th in fantasy points amongst quarterbacks. It looks promising that this guy's going to produce on a high level going into 2022 fantasy football. So he could be top 10 amongst quarterbacks next year. I think he'll be good value. I think people will sleep on him. I think he'll be a good backup for your rosters going into the season. All right, guys? So count back down. Mac Jones, Dave Montgomery, Monroe St. Brown, Javonte Williams, Darren Waller, DeAndre Hopkins, Devonta Smith, Russell Wilson, Michael Carter, and A.J. Dillon. Some early top 10 fantasy sleepers for 2022. We're talking sleepers. We're talking fantasy football, guys. Make sure you guys do subscribe, thumbs up, and a comment below. Leave me your favorite sleeper from this list or a list of your own that you may have. Love to get your feedback, guys. And, of course, guys, thumbs up and go to pristineauction.com. Use code SWAGLION and enter for the amazing giveaways. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the show. We go all off season. We'll talk soon.